So we're hanging out at the dog park today. You can see my dog Max, or actually my kid's dog Max, just losing his mind chasing this other dog. I don't know who's more excited to be here, our golden doodle or the wife and the kid. But I'm sitting here and I'm reading these comments that you guys are leaving on these videos, and a really good one just popped up, and it was in response to a video I just put up recently about the rising cost of utilities, expenses, gas, electricity. Obviously in the winter we're going to see these costs go up as their heating is being utilized to stay warm, especially now experiencing record winter weather, depending on where you live and what part of the country. And here, down here in Florida, Northwest Florida, actually, today is a great day, okay? I know, actually, I was watching Michael Bordenero just the other day, and I saw he was in a tank top down in Miami. I think he's in Miami. So obviously, depending on what part of the country you're in, is going to dictate the weather. I believe next week we're actually supposed to experience some colder temperatures and some wet weather. But in other parts of the country, especially for the guys watching Ryan Hall Extra, you know that other parts of the country are going to experience some extreme cold temperatures and severe winter weather, which is obviously going to take a toll on expenses as you're paying for utilities that are going up in price because energy is not cheap. We're in a recession, folks. Inflation is on the rise. And the biggest problem that we are going to face is the fact that people don't necessarily have the money, especially folks on fixed income, Social Security, SSI, SSDI, SSA recipients, any government aid. You know, the folks that are on SNAP, EBT, food stamps, people who are really in need of another stimulus check or two or more to survive. And a comment came through with a response to my statement that I made. If you haven't seen the video, check it out. And I want to reply. I want to comment back. I want to answer back. And ironically, I think it ties in pretty closely with this here. I want you guys to take a look at this. It says donations and suggestions. Donations and suggestions. All right. I want to do a little bit of both. So let's start with the suggestions. And the suggestions include, but aren't limited to, make more money, spend less than you make, budget wisely, eliminate high interest debt, credit card debt, revolving store credit debt, debilitating debt that you can't free yourself of, or at least make any real financial progress, especially now with the rising prices and costs that we're seeing of inflation in this recession. And from there, saving and investing for growth. Now, that's some of my suggestions. Another suggestion would be for those who are unable to just get out and go to work and immediately increase their income. The response, the comment that I received said, I think I had two comments actually. And one of them said that roofers are important. And what I want to do is I want to say is I do not deny that, do not argue that. And my video was not to say that they were not important. My video was to say that they may be deemed non-essential by people who are unable to afford their services for one of life's most important needs, which is shelter. Now, this is just in response to what we are seeing going on and occurring in the economy during this recession, high levels of inflation, job loss. People's money is probably, for some, was already tight. Remember, I mentioned the fixed income the retirees, elderly, seniors, who are already barely getting by as it was. Now, I'm not saying that all retirees and all elderly and all senior fall into this category, but I'm specifically speaking to those who are unable to run out, get a job, more than likely a labor-intensive job, to try to mitigate and supplement during this time. You know, when you see eggs, when you see the price of eggs skyrocket at grocery stores, when you get notifications and announcements from your utility companies that your bills are going to be increased, and you're on a fixed income, you're on a low budget, you're on a low income, you're a single income household, all the possible scenarios that would exist for the people who don't necessarily have the ability to just earn more money at the drop of a dime, which is probably a lot of people, or seemingly a lot of people. I want to talk to you guys about that. That would be another suggestion. But, you know, some of these folks are looking for donations. They're looking for help. They're looking for breathing room, reprieve. They're looking for, albeit some may consider a handout, which actually is why I asked you guys before if you would be interested in me doing any giveaways on this channel to possibly help those folks in need. But the comment that I received said that, it was a lot of comments, but one of them said that Southwest Florida roofers are going to have plenty of work to do because Hurricane Ian has secured that for them. And they are absolutely right. No doubt about it. Now, why? Well, because in that situation, things are a little different, which is what I said in the video. Now, the video that I'm talking about, go check it out if you haven't seen it. I mentioned how some homeowners may be reluctant to pay the high price of insurance deductibles when they experience some sort of damage to their home. To clarify, this was more of a one-off, unique situation where budgets are tight and people are being very cautious with their money. They're being very tight with their money. Southwest Florida, in the Hurricane Ian situation, for the folks who were affected by that, sure, there will probably be some who are unable to cover the costs of these extremely high deductibles. And folks, your contractors are not supposed to pay your deductibles. The contractors are not supposed to absorb your deductibles. So just put that out there. There's some people who are not going to have the financial ability to cover these deductibles, to exercise the insurance coverage that they have. However, in a situation like Hurricane Ian, and the devastation and the wrecking path that it has left of destruction that it caused so quickly, that's a little different. So let me clarify, that's a little different, because basically what that means is you're now in an area of increased volume of damage, increased volume of destruction. So odds are, if a neighborhood were to be affected, a community were to be affected, a city, a zip code, whatever it may be, with a storm as powerful as it was, and as powerful as it was, and as damaging and destructive as it was, odds are if a homeowner or two were unable to pay the deductible, and or even worse, didn't have insurance, odds are there's going to be several hundred, if not thousands of others nearby that will make up the difference and put these folks to work. Now, these are going to be roofers. These are going to be like the, who's it? Home Serve and the other remediation companies, they're going to be coming in. I think, what is it? Parker Young. There's some other companies out there. They're going to come in and they're going to dry out these homes, get the water out, get the moisture out. Then you're going to have demolition crews coming in. You're going to have carpenters coming in. You're going to have a lot of general contractors, a lot of GCs coming in, a lot of various trades. But this is somewhat isolated, folks, to areas that have experienced widespread damage from a natural disaster like a hurricane, like Hurricane Ian. So when we think about it in like from a global generalization perspective, there are parts of the country that have not experienced these problems, these devastations, that will be the onesie twosies, where if you are a contractor, if you're a freelance contractor, if you're a 1099 contractor, if you're just doing gig work on the side, maybe handyman, carpenter, roofer, jack of all trades, master of none, whatever it may be, if you're in these areas, one, of limited occurrences, and two, perhaps maybe strapped, low income, fixed income communities, then you have the potential to face increased struggle. As the folks who are going to be calling you and requesting quotes for repair are then going to be following up these visits, these consultations, these appointments, these inspections with, okay, all right, I don't have a lot of money. This is all I've got. How can we make this work? How can I make this less expensive? Can I get by with this? Do you have to do that? Now, also, folks, there are instances where there are some credit options that are out there for some of these homeowners that don't have the money on hand but need to get the work done. There's some credit options out there. If you guys aren't aware, let me know, because these are some pretty cool options that pretty much you can get them approved in their living room. I don't even think it requires a hard credit pull. It's based on the homeowner, I believe the homeowner, how many occupants are in the house, the gross income, gross monthly income of all who reside. Big deal, folks. I'm not huge on credit like that, but if you need it, use it, especially if it's an easy application, an easy approval process, and perhaps maybe even a lower interest rate. You gotta weigh out the good with the bad, okay? So I just want to clarify that, because not everybody has the ability to run to South Florida or Southwest Florida, Fort Myers, Tampa, Clearwater, and suit up, put on a tool belt, strap on a harness, put on your Guardian harness, put on your 3M harness, and climb up on a roof or get to work or something like that to make that money, because it's just not that easy. It just doesn't work like that. And we can't ignore the rest of the country, the rest of the world, who are experiencing these moments and increased cost and associate in direct relation to utilities, especially those on fixed income, retirees, even retirees. I hope these dogs aren't barking. I got the mic on me, but I hope these dogs aren't barking too loud on this video. But these dogs, they're having a blast. This is a huge dog community. I think it's pretty cool. Yeah, so not everybody has that ability to do that. So for the folks who don't, we have to form a solution to bridge that gap, because if you're on a fixed income, if you're relying on a stimulus check, which odds are we probably won't see it. We got a new Speaker of the House, McCarthy, and You know, we got tons of other bills currently in the works, proposals, talks. Granted, you know, there's a continuous spend of money going to other countries. But, you know, we spent $6 trillion, I think it was $6 trillion here. We spent $6 trillion here. I think on the first stimulus CARES Act package, back when Trump was in office, and then Biden, I think he wrapped it up with the third check. I don't think that's going to happen again, especially not now with the results that we're seeing from inflation. But if you're sitting there and you're looking at your EBT, thinking, how am I going to stretch this at the grocery store? How am I going to stretch these SNAP benefits at the grocery store when food is continuously going up in price and only going to get more expensive? Folks, if you haven't seen it, check out the video I posted yesterday with some clear warning signs and indications of what is likely to come directly from farmers. Now, the Fed is also getting involved as in direct communication with Union Pacific. Now, we know all the struggles that they went through with the possible railroad workers strike, but Union Pacific has actually caused severe delays of farmers being able to receive shipments of grain to feed their chickens and their cattle and their livestock. This is all compounded in addition to the higher diesel prices that we were seeing over the summer. This is all going to come back to bite us all, really, in the butt. It's going to bite us in the butt. It's going to bite us in the wallet. It may bite us in the stomach, too, because we're not going to be able to eat like we once were. We're going to have to make some concessions, make some changes. One, the foods won't be available. Two, they'll be too expensive. Combination of the two. Empty shelves, higher prices. It's going to be a struggle. It's going to be a struggle. But the thing is, it's like, if you're sitting there saying to yourself, how am I going to stretch this SNAP? How am I going to stretch this EBT? How am I going to stretch this government check? How am I going to stretch this SSI, this retirement, this monthly check? Now, granted, greatest COLA increase, 8.7%, I think, in decades. Obviously, folks who are on these government aid and assistance packages and supplemental income programs, they know that although there's an increase in your monthly benefit, there's also going to be an increase in some other ancillary costs, as well as perhaps even the tax implications that will follow from the added increase of income. So we must be mindful of that. But if you're sitting there just saying to yourself, my income is fixed, I am technically low income, and prices continuously going up, food's continuously becoming more expensive at grocery stores, utilities costs on the rise, obviously something's going to have to be done to improve the situation so that I can afford to maintain. This is not even a growth phase. This is just a maintenance phase, okay? There's no easy answer. I'll put it to you like that. There's no easy answer, because even with some of the options that are out there, a lot of them, ironically, they're like suicide missions. If you're on a fixed income and certain government assistance programs from the Social Security Administration, if you're on Social Security Disability Insurance, SSDI, they don't want you making more money. They don't want you doing better, it seems. Granted, there's a program called Ticket to Work, which, if you're not aware and you need to find a way to supplement your income, Ticket to Work could be a really good option. There are some limitations to the program, but at the end of the day, the goal is to use the program to your advantage, to bridge the gap, increase your income, knowing that more than likely you're going to lose your benefits. But the goal is that if that happens, is that you're now going to be earning a substantially more higher income than you previously were on the benefits. So it's actually putting you in a better position to afford these higher costs of living. We can talk about that more. If you guys want to know, hit me up. And especially if you guys want to know more about other ways of increasing your income on your own, I discuss this all the time and share a lot of secrets, tips, opportunities, and hacks for those who are interested, especially for the members who took the time to show their love and support the channel, and, you know, begin to build. Folks, this is for beginners, okay? Because these are the folks that are beginning to build sustainable options for increased survival that usually have no experience whatsoever, but know that right now is so important. It's becoming abundantly clear that they have to make a change. And especially for those who feel like they've been painted into a corner and their back's against the wall, they have nowhere to turn, and they don't even know where to start. Okay, so come on over and let's make it happen, okay? But yeah, these programs are designed to keep you broke, to keep you poor, to keep you under the government's thumb and vulnerable for collapse, economic collapse, wipeout. When Jerome Powell and the Federal Reserve Chair Jerome Powell, when he says pain will be felt, he's talking about these people first. These people are going to feel it first. COLA, this cost of living adjustment for fixed income, government dependent income, is based on old data, old inaccurate data, because we know CPI numbers are underreported, and it's not even retroactive. They're barely giving you an increase based on this old inaccurate data from last year, while the prices are continuously going up this year, right? So there has to be a much better solution. Otherwise, mathematically, you can look at the numbers and you can say to yourself, mathematically, if things were to change like they've been changing over the next few weeks, few months, maybe you can make it through the year, mathematically you can't afford it. And that's only if you don't see any hiccups, any accidents, any emergencies, any extreme costs that you weren't expecting hitting in that time frame. If we see another 10%, 12%, 15% increase in these costs, there's going to be some people that are going to be on the verge of being wiped out. And even if you're not fixed income, even if you're not dependent upon government aid and government checks and stimulus packages and EBT and food stamps, waiting on an IRS tax return, that probably ain't gonna be enough. And then, the 1099 contractors, the plumbers, the electricians, the roofers, the movers, the cleaning services, the nannies, the babysitters, painters, the list goes on and on. I can go through this all day long. Flooring, carpenters, pool cleaners, excavators. Look, folks, here's the deal. Things are going to continuously get rougher, increasingly more challenging. But like I said in my last video, there's an opportunity for those who are experiencing these situations and these circumstances where you once would make, you would generate leads, you'd make appointments, you would engage with the customers, you would calculate the estimates, you would provide a proposal, and odds are you provide a proposal with various options and they would select one. But now that's not so much the case anymore. Now they're looking at it and they're saying, I just need to get by. I just need to do as little as possible, which is perfectly fine. I understand everybody has a budget and everybody has, certain circumstances that they have to work around. But from the contractor's perspective, that's going to hurt you in your ability to earn your income like you need. Look at this jet. There's a private airfield over here. There's a private airport, and when these jets take off, it's really cool. So it's going to hurt these contractors' ability to earn income like they once were, which is then going to put them in the same situation where they get the notices that their costs are going up, their insurance is going up, their utilities are going up, their expenses are going up. More than likely, gas is going to go back up, diesel prices are going to go up. And then, to find good workers, you're going to have to pay them a lot of money because their costs are going up too. But anyway, the point is that when that happens, you got to figure out a solution. Now, granted, I gave you several options in the last video, but more importantly, I think one of the most important options is going to be including this extra step, which ultimately will put you in a position where even if you don't get the job, even if they choose and select the lowest, least expensive option that ultimately reduces the amount of money that you're going to make on the job, even if you see a reduction in your annual volume. Look at this.
Look at how wet his face
Look, he had a blast.
He did. He shook his head and all the drool came off like Beethoven. Remember Beethoven when he'd shake his head in the movie and just spit would go everywhere? That's what he did. All over my pants. My pants are ruined.
Which pants are those? Those are the REIs?
Yeah, these are from REI, but now they're covered in husky fur and all other kinds of stuff.
Those huskies look really cool. So, yeah, so if this happens, ultimately, yeah, you can increase your reach, your radius. You could try to, do all you can, maybe increase your ad spend, which paid ad spend marketing is going to be very, very dangerous for a lot of companies moving forward. I'm just going to tell you that right now. You could be throwing dollars into the fire, if you know what I mean. Now, what I want to say is that I got to run because the dog's done. They're ready to go grab lunch, and he probably wants to go take a nap or something. But what I want to say is that even in this time, in these situations where you're presenting these proposals and these clients are telling you how strapped they are, regardless of their situation, money's tight, there's a way that you can use this as an opportunity to help them accomplish their goals within their budgets while also driving up your revenues that doesn't cost them anything at all. And you can do it two ways. One of the ways would cost you money as a company, as a contractor, as a freelancer, as a gig worker, as a 1099, and self-employed. But the other way to do it and still accomplish the same goal costs you nothing. Literally costs you nothing. And it is literally, there's a handful of folks out there doing it, but at the end of the day, it's going to bring you more sales, more leads, more revenue, more income, more profit, and it ultimately ends up becoming a passive income stream. So it'll make you money even when you're not doing anything. Warren Buffett said, I'll leave you guys with this. Warren Buffett said, figure out a way, learn how you can make money while you sleep. Otherwise, you'll work until you die.